let's unpack this. Are we recording? Welcome to Brainstorm. I'm Tom Telford, here with Preston Niederhauser. Get it.
Nathan Manwaring.
The Shaman.
The Shaman. Are we allowed to call you that? That's the name I've been giving you lately. Nate, most important question of the day. Favorite musical song to sing on a bike ride? That you can just bellow. There's no shame. You don't care who you're with. You're going high note. You're doing it all.
Well, but it all matters. The context matters. Crusher number 1 was Michael Bublé. Just haven't met you yet.
Here we go.
But
Here
then,
we go.
if depending on who I'm riding with, you'll see a lot of Disney songs. It's just it's something from the context will come and like that's the song.
So, pretty sure the last time I was riding with you, you broke out Pocahontas.
Yes, that's very common.
Yeah, and how come? Why?
Wind.
Wind? Okay.
I assume colors of the wind. I don't know.
This is so
No,
good.
I appreciate it. And your library of musical numbers, but also movie quotes, and your ability to throw in a quote, and then I'm supposed to figure out the movie.
Yes.
That is not my wheelhouse. Like, I can never figure out the movie. I have no idea. So
if you're asking Preston to be verbal on a ride,
Preston's in his own head. He's busy. Okay.
Preston is not in right now. He's doing the pedal thing. Oh.
Some friends when we ride with, if they stop talking, you're like, oh, I think he's about to die. Like we need to pull over.
Yeah.
Who?
Call Roger Arnell.
Okay.
Preston is like the opposite. If like Preston's not talking for an hour, you're like, he's having a good day.
He's happy. Look at him over there.
Just
happy.
pedaling, frowning.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna. Can I maybe say a couple things?
Of course.
For context.
Of course.
So Nathan is a mountain green friend. He is an awesome family man, married, kids, and yet he's an Uber cyclist, which we're going to talk about. And I don't know if this is true, but I'm just going to say it on here. At any given point, I think you're probably coaching 20 to 30 cyclists, whether that's formally or most likely informally. Yeah. But we called you the Shaman as a joke, but it's true. Nathan is, in my book, you're the number one smartest cyclist I know. Your IQ for the cycling sport is as high as anybody I've ever met. So, having said all of that, what's your first question, Preston, other than singing?
Okay. Here's another one I had on my mind. What is your philosophy when you come to a gate on a gravel ride, and why?
Oh, okay. So I've had this idea that if I never get arrested for trespassing, I'm really doing gravel riding wrong. But I have yet to be arrested.
Okay.
And as a chronic overthinker, semi-anxious person, coming to said gate and going beyond it is actually really pushing the limits of half of my brain. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So you're looking for the danger. You're looking to get in trouble.
I don't want a shotgun in my face, but I wouldn't be upset.
I actually would love to see it, to be honest, because something tells me if a shotgun comes out and Nathan's standing there in spandex, he likely will break out in song.
It would diffuse it.
He will kill with kindness and song.
I don't know about that. But yeah, so I took you guys on that gravel route, and that was new route I'd never done before, should have been open roads. And all of a sudden I come to like a 5-foot gate. It's closed, locks everywhere, this. And I'm like, shoot, like, what do I do? So I just went for it. It was fine. Didn't see anybody. But I was nervous. And then I took you guys. I'm like, hey, listen, like, there's trespassing. And then the gate was open. There was no locks or nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay,
I guess we're welcome.
I guess we're welcome.
They've invited us.
So,
But the theory behind that is like the bear, whoever's slowest is going to get taken by the bear. So, and Nathan knows between Preston and I, like two middle-aged guys, max, watts of 128 on a good day. And so he's like, you guys fend it out. One of you is going to take the rancher shotgun, not me. Like, you're going to ride away from that danger zone.
Oh, man.
I'd probably be the least likely person to actually run away from the rancher or the angry person. I'd just stop and be like, what? How's it going?
It's true.
Talk to him.
It's true. You're so cordial in those moments. Nathan, why did you get into cycling?
Because I suck at running. So,
I actually don't believe that, but
oh no,
there's more
so,
there.
So we'll go a little bit of background. So, high school, nerdy fat kid, band, whatever. Didn't do any sports, not really, and was wanting to lose a little weight, wanting to be fit, whatever. Started running, and ended up like running a marathon my freshman year at BYU. And it was
Were you into the data at that point? Did you understand numbers and pacing and et cetera, or
what data? You mean the internet? Where you would just look online and see the whole of human knowledge instantly at your fingertips back in 19...
Why did you poke the bear, bro? You freaking World Wide Webbed him right now.
My bad.
Just... Right.
Did Strava exist back then?
Right. I mean, I don't think BlackBerries existed back then. I think you would have found a Palm.
Okay, no, here's the important.
So,
were your mile splits on an Excel spreadsheet before that marathon?
No.
Okay.
So I had a training plan. I looked up, what can I do, and tried to get some information in there. The amount of readily available good information was shocking, like low. And looking back on it, it's no surprise that we struggled and people were doing what they were doing and whatever, right? Like even the field of sports science was undeveloped 25 years ago compared to what it is now. Leaps and bounds. So just looking, searching the internet, finding a training plan. Here, it's 686, rest 310, right? That was your week. So I do that, and the idea of nutrition was, I don't know, I'll take a Gatorade and I'll grab it every lap around the Provo Temple MTC, whatever loop up there, and that'll be my nutrition and hydration strategy. But it was enough, right? Like I was consistent and I ran and ended up losing weight. Probably had an eating disorder. No, I'd be confident that I had an eating disorder.
I love that you just said that you admitted that on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk more about it.
Yeah, we'll say, but I lost a good 50 pounds.
Yeah.
My freshman year, and then at the very end of my senior year of high school. Looking back at pictures, I'd be like, what was this? And I never looked in a mirror and saw myself as like frail and skinny. But now I look at pictures of that and I'm like, holy cow, like I didn't get it. And it was because having grown up in high school and being overweight and stress eating and just all of that stuff and, like wanting to be more attractive, wanting to be healthy and, not knowing how to do it.
What stressed you out growing up?
Okay, so you've mentioned the IQ and this and whatever, and I've been thinking about this. I think about a kid who's like really good at soccer, just good enough to get into some college team and spend all of their college career focusing on soccer and then not actually be able to make a career about it. Like, I'm not smart enough to be like a genius, go out there, cure cancer and, whatever. But I'm just smart enough to struggle in social situations and like other things that other people just kind of like do. I'm like, but how many people is ideal for this type of a conversation? And where do you walk if you're talking with a group of 3 people? And on what side? And how many steps are there in between these sidewalk cracks? And just, there's a lot going on in there.
So that's what stressed you out, all growing up
Everything.
as a kid.
Now just name something. Like what's
Social.
Absolutely.
So that was it. Part of
Torpedoing
it.
social situations just because I would have thoughts and share them and then look back and be like, that was the dumbest thing I could have said right there.
Paint the picture. Where'd you grow up? How many siblings?
So 6 siblings total in the family. I was number 4 of 6, 3 older brothers, 2 younger sisters. Born in Utah, moved up to Oregon for a couple years, moved down to Arizona, 7th grade, graduated from Arizona and went to BYU. And
Okay.
Never came home.
Yeah.
Where in Arizona?
Gilbert.
Yeah.
And now your parents are in Mountain Green.
And my parents are in
Yeah,
Mountain
they
Green.
followed you.
Yeah. They're moving down to St. George in a little bit.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So social was a stress.
Uh-huh.
Were you really talented in school? Meaning, as a student, did you do really well?
Sure. I don't think, I mean, any standardized tests, 90, 95th, 98th percentile on all those, SAT, ACT, and all that stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
woohoo.
But you ended up at the Y. Impressive.
I'm like, hey, I get into BYU. And my mom kind of walked by, nothing. And I'm like, Mom, I said I got into BYU. We knew you'd get in. Like, oh, okay.
Did they have an expectation of something else? Or
No.
No? Yeah.
Math competitions. So I was like one of those, 4, 5 kids that like you'd go and you'd get on a bus and you'd go meet up with all the other nerdy kids in Las Vegas and, do stupid math competitions for an
Scribd
entire
spelling
weekend.
bee?
No,
No?
mostly math.
Okay.
That actually makes sense.
It totally does, right?
Now I'm like,
Oh, think of all the spreadsheets he's emailed me over the years.
yeah, totally.
And
So why the running thing? When you end up at the Y, you were not married as a freshman, I'm assuming.
Nope.
So what drew you there? I mean, you said you wanted to. Were you self-conscious about the weight?
absolutely.
Okay.
Right. So, and I mean, most people are self-conscious about something, but as a husky kid, I mean, I'm 5'9", 200 pounds my junior year of high school. I don't know if we're gonna make the whole podcast about all this, but I remember like just being in high school, looking in the shower, like looking down, and I couldn't see my feet. Like it was just,
Yeah.
and I'm like just feeling bad. And I'm like, oh, I need to do this, right? And so, and it wasn't, it was not a positive motivation. Like, hey, like, yeah, we can do this. It was like, I hate myself. I hate my body. I want to do this. Whatever. Just
Yeah.
and I'm very good at using negative emotions as motivation for sure. It was identify a flaw, cut it off,
Yeah.
find something that needs to be fixed and attack it. It wasn't like, anything that I would want my kids or anyone else to do.
Yeah, totally. Did you recognize as a high schooler that you were harsh to yourself?
Not at all.
Or it just was second nature? It just was your way of coping with it. That's how you addressed it. Okay.
And that continued through the first several years of even marriage. I did running, and off and on I would be doing just different events. Never really was able to. The problem with running wasn't that I wasn't motivated, but just the way I'd say most people, myself included, have some kind of an issue where it's like you start getting shin splints or back
IT
issues
band
or
or-
hip issues
yeah.
or IT band, right? And so the injury rate, Dr. Dan, my buddy, tells me the injury rate for runners is like 98% per year or something. Like, and you've got 1 in 10 runners that never have any issues, and then you're people that have 4 issues per year. And so I was just one of those people. So, you start getting fit and you start getting better, and then it's like, oh, injury, I got to back off. Injury, I got to back off. Injury, I got to back off. And I was never really able to ramp up with enough effort, time, and anything else to get to where I felt good.
Yeah.
Like fast or competitive.
So you started running in freshman year of college, as I'm getting
Pretty
the
much,
timeline
yeah.
right? And were you completely doing this on your own? Did
Yes.
you have any buddies you were running with or anyone, or it was just something you figured out and you just went out and did it?
99% of the time was solo by myself at nights.
Okay. Anyone even know you'd signed up for a marathon?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was before social media, so I didn't
You
post about it.
You didn't post it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it didn't happen actually.
Not on Strava. I think you can look up the results still, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, that might be worth finding.
I should look it up. That's funny. I'm curious to know as you go back to that time frame. So you couldn't ramp enough to really pursue running competitively, but you had seen results in shedding 50 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So even though you weren't going to pursue running, did you become obsessive then about the weight loss, the body, all the stuff?
Absolutely.
So double click on that. Take us there.
So a combination of factors, but I lived in, what was it called? But the different dorms at BYU, but the one where you had 6 people living in like a 3-room apartment.
Yeah.
And Lucy Mack Smith, I think. Anyway, yes, I think that's what it was. Hall. And so I would eat like a packet of instant oatmeal for breakfast, a apple and a bagel from the corner store for $1.25 for lunch, and then I'd have a frozen chicken breast and 2 slices of whole wheat toast, and then whatever stuff my roommates left out. Like I thought of myself as like a crab, just like eating whatever refuse was left over. But so I was extremely frugal. Like I think my food budget per month was like under $50 or maybe $50. And so that limits your calorie intake right there, obviously.
Yeah.
But then beyond that, now add running 5 miles a day, you're going to lose weight. So, and then it just was what it was. But like, and then I was, I remember, one time I didn't realize how like obsessive I may have been about all that stuff. But like my roommates were like, one of them was just like, dude, you're like an inspiration. But what he meant was like, you're like obsessed with this. Like this is all you do is, you come home and you're lifting weights and you're doing, pull-ups in the laundry room on the little, metal thing. Cause that's what we had. That's what was there. And then running every day.
Being a freshman, were you feeling the pressure of acceptance? Because, and the reason why I asked that is there's some challenges maybe at that particular school of perfectionism and different things. And I think a lot of people feel it. Did you experience any of that? Is that one of the driving factors of why this all clicked as a college student?
Well, as I mentioned previously, I was really good at trying to be perfect, like identifying an issue and attacking it, and like, oh, this, like, and that went beyond physical, right? This was everything in my life. If I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I'm, righteous enough or good enough for doing this, and it's like, okay, I need to read my scriptures more. You got to do this. You got to pray more. You got to, just all these different things. I was raised in a household where I came from and coming to BYU, I fit in very nicely with the culture that they try to create at that school.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a net positive, but that, like, I did not have any issues trying to conform or fit into that. It was like,
you crushed at tunnel singing.
I didn't do tunnel singing, but we were on the other side of the campus. But yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Was it? I mean, you say it wasn't a net positive. So were you living in a mindset of scrupulosity?
Absolutely.
Obsessive, compulsive, religious, moral, OCD. So you were.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Looking back, you know that, but
Oh,
in the moment, you didn't know that.
It was just like,
Yeah,
this
it was
is
just
what we're
as
supposed
this
to
is
do.
life.
Just what you do.
Thriving, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running, I'm succeeding. School's going well. I'm memorizing all the scriptures. I'm doing everything right. It was
And when you're dropping weight, you've got all of this external validation that you're on plan, you're killing it, all of those things. But it seems like you're saying it wasn't healthy.
absolutely, yeah, it was not healthy.
Okay. So say,
Well,
Tell-
and that's interesting when you say, healthy. Well, it wasn't healthy to be 200 pounds and
Right.
5'9" either,
yeah.
right? So what I think there would have been healthier ways to do that, and I think I was in from just like a objective physical level of health and long-term longevity and whatever, like I guess that was probably healthier even, but I think it came at a cost that was not necessary.
Which is
Being able to feel free to feel free. Just being able to actually enjoy the highs. I felt all the lows, and the highest that I ever got was like a little bit over baseline.
why. I mean, what do you attribute that to now? Was it cultural? Was it environmental? Was it just you, meaning you were not allowed to experience the high? I mean, what was the inability to do that?
Yeah, so I think culturally is, everything matters in context, and you take two different individuals and you put them in the same context, and they'll react differently to it. Whether that's a culture or a family or a apartment of 6 roommates, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the way that I fit into my context was to lean into the scrupulosity and the seeking for perfectionism and casting off the natural man and like really leaning into that side of the aspect of my upbringing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much like, hey, you're doing okay, celebrate the wins. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's cool. Like, that's part of the experience of life, and it's important for you to do that. It was like, be ye therefore perfect.
Can we fast forward?
Please.
When did you recognize the unhealthy way that this all came about? Like, how long ago was it recognized? And was it gradual, or was it pretty obvious at some point? You're like, holy.
Yeah. So I sat in that probably for the, from high school through the next 15 years. And then middle life starts to happen, right? And then we grow up and we have our own kids, and then we look around at ourselves and and think, what do I want for the next half of my life? And then we start to be like, was that normal? Was that okay? Like, why did I do that to myself?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
So midlife allowed you to just smoke the peace pipe a little bit internally, just feel I don't need to necessarily be anxious or feel the weight or the pressure that I had before.
One of the things I was thinking about coming into this, I'm like, what are some real big changing points that I've had? I'd say there are two types of lessons that we learn. There's lessons that we learn external to ourselves from things that happen external to ourselves. And then there's the lessons that we learn just by going in. And those, maybe it's just by yourself, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's you're reading an interesting book, or, again, I'd even argue that the book would be other information coming in. So in the last 5 years, as I've gotten into cycling and had a lot of time to myself, I don't listen to music or books. Almost exclusively, I'm sitting there just in my own head. And then I've had a couple of opportunities to go out for multiple days by myself. And I think that opportunity for reflection has given me a chance to learn those lessons that are already in there. And that reflection and those lessons have really changed who I am and my whole life.
I want to come back to your sabbatical you took last year, but before I do that, how do I want to? I feel like watching you now, you still have this expectation, like that you have to excel to a really high level, and I'm thinking specifically on the bike, like. You might have leaned over to someone in the group recently and said, "Hey, I'm not going to be beat on this." So I think that still is there, right? You still have this desire to, I don't know if perfection is the right word for that, but you have this ultra competitive, if I'm going to keep doing this, I'm going to excel at a high level. Like, I don't envision Nathan going off in the sunset on a bike. Like, if he's going to be riding a bike, he's going to be.
Why do we like to compete with our friends?
Well, I think well, you answer the question. I'm going to let you answer.
To me, the question is it's not like something I even know the answer to. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, why am I the way that I am? Like, I love hurting myself or others.
Yeah.
And just like finding my limit and seeing what I'm capable of. Right. And on the bike is the first time I feel like where I found something where it's like I'm actually, take a room of people and have me do the same thing that they do. I'll probably be better than half of them just doing the same stuff. But so like I actually have maybe some natural talent in this thing. But even outside of that, it's just why do I enjoy getting to the top of Mount Evans and taking pictures of people that are like sprawled out on the pavement like they're gonna throw up? I'm like, click, we'll save that one for later. I don't know. I do.
Despite environment, despite the way you grew up, there's something about you that has a high expectation of self.
Yeah.
And if you take high expectation of yourself, which I love about you, it's contagious. I think it's amazing. It's an attribute that I love, frankly, about a lot of the people that we ride bikes with. There's a high expectation of self to go do what we all love to do and what you do at a higher level than most. But if you take that high expectation of self person and you put them in an environment that shares messages like lengthen your stride, be therefore perfect. Now you've got a combination of things that can spin out of control. In my opinion, I've had it similarly. I've had my own midlife crisis stuff, that you've mentioned when we've been on skin skis or bikes. It's very familiar to me. So I'm curious just where you've landed on. How do you unpack or kind of unhitch the wagon of the pressure of culture, maybe family, maybe some of the perfectionism about, religion versus how do you maintain those still, but this is me, Nathan, I have a high expectation of myself, Have you been able to separate them and smoke the peace pipe with one and, maybe let the rest of the stuff go that doesn't serve you?
Yeah, so I'd say for me, it's developing a strong sense of personal integrity. So what matters to me? What do I want? What is my expectation for myself? And being able to say everything else is secondary to that. And I don't think that's the message that we are taught There may be a lot of people that disagree with that as a correct message. But for me, that's certainly where I'm at right now.
How long did it take to reconcile and come to that conclusion?
40 years.
So, and you're still working on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For our listeners, though, I think that what's cool about this in this moment right now is you're getting to see someone who we admire as a cyclist, incredibly talented, so strong. We can talk, races, stories, LOTOJA. Like, this is a guy who's done it at a really high level. I love that you're a thinking man. I love that about you. I love that you think deeply. I love that you can go spend a week riding bikes 100 miles a day for, I don't know what your record is, 10 days riding 100 miles a day for 10 days. And it was alone, right?
7 of the days were alone.
Yeah. So you can go inward, you can go deep and really kind of dive in there. And you've talked about that is, you're not listening to music, so you're spending that time. Where do you go? Like, is it truly a moment of asking yourself questions? Is it discovery? I mean, what is there an intention? Like, maybe, hey, today I'm going to ride 100 miles and I'm, going to argue with myself, the tenets of, personal integrity. I mean, give us an example of, what those long internal dialogue sessions go like.
So I'm going to answer this in 2 parts. Number one, just you mentioned, like, as someone who likes to go deep, blessing and a curse. It is not a choice for a chronic overthinker whether or not to go deep. Okay? And so that's, people, like, there are people who are just like, oh, that was a cool movie. And then I'm just like, yeah, but what did they mean? On that part, when that happened, like, I just, so, or even, again, just social situations. Like, other people are like, oh, it's cool. We just hung out with, 20 people there. And I was just like, yeah, but, like, what about this and this? And then these people, and then with that, and then I wasn't sure what to do here. And then, I'm like, and then for the next 2 weeks, it's like I'm replaying the mistakes and the things that happen in my head, right? So, yes, I go deep, but it's not a choice. And I'm guessing that there are people who will resonate with that, and other people who are like, really? There's people who live their whole life where, like, if you spend 2 hours in a room full of like 20 people, you actually replay and you think about that for like a week? Yes. Okay, so where do I go and what happens? Often sometimes I take the meditation or the ideas or the questions into the ride with me. Just something's been on your mind and you go for a ride and it's just sitting in there kind of marinating and, whatever. And other times the ride provides the idea. On the 100 miles a day for 10 days. So I turned 40 and I said, I want to do something I've never done. I'm going to go do 100 miles a day. I had done like a 3 or a 4 day trip before, and I'm like, might as well do a whole week. And if I'm doing a whole week, I might as well do a nice round 10. And so, and it needs to be
makes sense to round up.
Of course.
And it needs to be a different route every day, of course. And it needs to be, like a cool place. So, so day one, I was at Bryce National Park, and then I went down to, from Bryce to the areas east and southeast, and then, back up to Bryce, and then to the very end of Rainbow Point or whatever it is, and then back. And about 40 miles in, day one of 10, and I'm like, I can do this, 40 miles in, I look up at Bryce, I can't even see it. Like, it's covered. There's clouds. It's May, and so up at 8,000 or 9,000 feet, 8,000 feet, wherever Bryce is, right? It's like, this is a freezing spring rain in the 40s. This is not like a nice, rain shower. And so I'm like, I'm not going to make it on day one. Like, I'm going to quit, like, right now. Like, this is dumb. And so then I started thinking, I'm like, is it better to be goal-oriented or enjoy the moment, right? The paradox for you. I know you're really big into paradoxes, Tom, right?
Yep, I am.
And I think so I thought about this, and I'm like, I guess it depends how hard it's raining, right? Because I want to enjoy the experiences, and even if it's raining, I want to like just be in that moment. But at the same time, I also wanted to just be done and get off the bike, and the wind and the rain and everything was so bad. I'm like, that's it, we're done, right? But you know, the goal was pushing me. So for that ride, and then, you know, you've got hours by yourself, and so you actually might spend 45 minutes or 60 minutes thinking about this concept of goal-oriented versus, you know, present experience-oriented, and the, you know, importance of one or the other and what they mean, and, you know, what impact that has on your life. So there's day one. There's 9 more.
Now, and if I remember right, like 7 of those days were pretty challenging.
Yeah.
And it took you 7 days before you finally turned the page and like really embraced the whole project and why you were doing it.
I mean, I embraced it from day one. Like, it was, I knew what I was doing and what I wanted to do. But yeah, I definitely had a dark moment.
Yeah, enjoying the moment didn't start to really click until maybe day 7. Is that, or
So
how did you describe it to me? That why did it take that many days before something changed where it was a better experience or something?
So day 2, I changed to my gravel bike because I was going down to Grand Canyon, through like straight shot from Bryce down to the Grand Canyon, dirt roads, and my cleat was a little bit janky on my shoe, and so like 10-15 miles in, all of a sudden I've got knee pain, and then I'm looking behind me, and the darkest of dark clouds are like chasing me. So like all day I'm like, my knee hurts, and I'm like, and I gotta go, like, and I gotta run, and ended up making it through the bentonite clay roads before all the rain came, and it would have been like a potential SOS situation. Like, but that was, you know, it was a little stressful, and again, my knee was hurting, and but I made it to Jacob Lake, and the next day my knee was hurting even more, and then the next day my knee was hurting even more, and I'm like messing around with my saddle and trying to fix it. I eventually got it adjusted, but it was still just very tender. But day 5 was like, I'm done. Like, this isn't fun. I'm not, you know, the road is like straight as an arrow disappearing into the horizon. And you look behind you, and it's straight as an arrow disappearing into the horizon. And you're just like, you know, I'm thinking about Stephen Covey's like, begin with the end in mind. And I'm like, he didn't know what he was talking about, because this sucks. I don't want to see this road disappearing. So, you know, I was actually like, it is possible to see too far down the road. Like, if you could see in front of you all of the work and everything you have to do for the next 2 years to build a business, or, you know, even building a house. Like, if people knew